Hi everyone, this is Kim reporting from Snowmageddon Part 2. So this is our second 586 class we've missed due to weather. So I'm going to explain to you why you don't need to panic. Oh, I'm sure you're probably just excited to have some extra time. But how we're going to make sure that we can still fit in all of our content and get to all the things that you may have questions about. So this is just a quick overview. Since we don't have class today and we didn't have class last week, next week in class, when you would normally have EDSP 582 characteristics with Tracy, she and I are going to split that class in half. So for the first hour, we're going to do a little 586 work, and that will help us to be able to move forward. Additionally, I am putting together some screencasts like this one to explain the forms that you'll need for your field experience. And we're going to go through the current assignments just so everybody's on the same page for what's coming up and what's due. So you already know the class is canceled. Our togetherness activities that we were going to do for today, we're going to save for when we meet next week. Tracy was kind enough to give up some of her time. And let's do a quick overview of what our assignments are that we have, because we've really only engaged in 2 assignments in class, 2 discussion boards. So let's talk a little bit about what we have going on and when things are due. So this is, if you click on assignments here, you get a list of all the assignments that we have had, and I would like to be able to organize these by date. There must be a way to do that. I'll figure that out in a minute. Okay, so anyway, all the things that you're going to have to do are in here. So we have already done our gifted model reflection. So that was February 3rd. We had our snow day differentiation reflections. That was for last class. If you haven't posted and responded to 2 people, you're going to want to do that today on March 4th. And the next thing we have coming up are pretty flexible and due dates. I spaced them out artificially just so you wouldn't be stuck with a bajillion things all at one time. You know that 40% of your grade is based on the work that you do in your field experience, and that's where the emphasis of your time should be. And then in addition, we have a few other assignments that you are completing. So the next thing that's due is a week from Tuesday. I'm going to extend the deadline for that, and I will make sure that this is updated and reflected. You don't really need to have that finished until April. So though it says March 17th, your gifted expertise review. This is where you were supposed to choose resources, create an annotated bibliography, and then you were going to kind of review what you thought the level of those particular instructional resources were. So you're going to do 2 articles and then 2 gifted resources. So again, I will extend this deadline so that you've got till April to get that done. If you're having trouble finding books, remember next week you can pick up some from our library that we have at school, or you can purchase or borrow your own, whatever seems to fit best. The only requirement is that they have to be something that would address middle school and high school needs. If I go back to assignments and look at our next one, then we have a thinking skills lesson, which really can be one of your lessons that you do for your field experience. So that's duplicative. I'd like for you to have the lesson plan due near the beginning of April so that I can give you any support with the lesson planning that you're doing for your field experience. But in this, you're going to be developing a lesson plan that incorporates some kind of thinking skills. So we'll be talking about those in class, but you can also do a search for thinking skills and pick something that you'd be able to do that's for gifted students. So a big one is our skills related to creative thinking. I will say that most people don't do thinking skills in isolation. They usually connect them with content because that seems to make more sense. It's difficult to practice thinking about nothing. So you might want to consider how you might work in thinking skills into one of the lessons that you're going to be doing with students. And then the next assignment, number 4, you've got your gifted instructional resource and differentiation strategy box. So basically you're just putting together some kind of resource that organizes the things that you're learning about that you think you'll be able to use in your classroom. So that could cover some stuff that you've already talked about in the discussion boards. It could be new things that you're doing. It could be examples of things that you've tried out with your students, but they should be appropriate for middle school and high school. It doesn't mean that they couldn't be used with younger students. Just make sure that depending on the content you would choose, that it would make sense to work with older 6 through 12 students. And then the rest of our lessons have to do, or excuse me, assignments have to do directly with the field experience. Your lesson plans, your documentation of field hours, your unit plan, okay? So one of the things that I have started to do, and I will add to this library, under modules at the bottom of the page or near the bottom of the page, I now have a separate module called field experience. I felt like it was important to separate that out. And all of our handbooks and paperwork is here, but I've started to put in screencasts. I've got an overview of the forms, and I've got some information about the goal setting form right now, and I will add in details about the unit plan and the lesson planning form so that at your leisure, these are 5 to 7 minute or so screencasts, you can go in and look at those. If you feel like you don't need them, that's fine. But if you get stuck before you send me an email, please do review those screencasts so you can get the background information you need to be able to be successful in those tasks. So what I think is important for you to do today, I'm not going to assign you anything extra. I think it's important for you to review your assignment timeline so you feel good about what's on the list. I think you need to start thinking about how you're going to implement your planning or how you're going to implement your field experience. I think you need to look over the resources for field experience so you understand the forms and how to use them. I think you should probably start making a list of any questions or any resources you think you need so that when you come to class next week, you've got yourself all ready to go. So the hardest part of this class is wrapping your brain around the to-do list. So I want for you to spend part of your day today, now that we have this Snowmageddon day, spend part of your day today organizing yourself and understanding what needs to be done in the coming months. And if you have questions, as always, you can reach me online or by phone. Thanks a lot.